Whoa! Yikes, 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 yikes. Been a little minute since I last streamed. Look, school holidays, all that jazz, getting a bit sick. This is life. Life gets in the way. But I just can't stop beating my head with a wet brick and watching where I left off. The Isaac Butterfield interview with Pauline Hanson. Sometimes I got to keep reminding myself, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I watching this? And then I was thinking about how this is like an anatomy of a disaster. This is a future impression of American political discourse transplanted into Australia. This is a potential of the American media influence into what our culture and our politics is. And it's a fucking cancer. Not to put too fine a point on it, but this is, if we're just going to recap a little bit about what I think I remember watching here, is there's a whole bunch of anecdotes around women, universities, crime, and it all was pretty well based on feels and not statistics or numbers or data or anything relevant. Oh, and then the whole victim blaming of those poor men in those family courts, that sort of disgusting fucking, what about the poor men that go to family court? For the 3 to 5% of divorces that actually end up in family court, the small number of dirtbags that fucking get chewed up and spit out through the court system. Interestingly enough, when we looked at the crime statistics, so Mr. Butterfield here claimed that growing up, crime was less of a thing in the early 2000s. I think he was in the 2010s. I think he said, because he's not even that old. He's in his 30s or something. He looks fucking old. But in the 2010s or whatever he's mentioned, and actually violent crime in Queensland was down. But shock horror, as his generation was coming of age and having partners and children, in 2020, the domestic violence incidents skyrocket. Now, I don't know what the fuck is happening with young millennials, or if it is in fact young millennials. I don't know of the breakdown in terms of demographics on the domestic violence statistics, but something went weird. Property crime was about the same. It dipped a little bit in the late 2010s and it's come back up. But it's at around early 2000s, 2010 levels. So this idea that crime has just gone through the roof since my day is actually nowhere near true. The only thing it's true for is domestic violence. And these guys wanted to actually, I think Pauline Hanson's policy was, let's remove funding for women who are potentially in domestic violence situations to help get them out, or at least give them a pathway of escape. But, fuck me. Fuck women, right? Like, I think that was her policy. Her policy was fuck women, and men are precious little angels, and boys can do no wrong. But let me find out where the discourse takes us in this next exciting chapter of the Isaac Butterfield interview with Pauline Hanson.
It's swinging. I know a lot, obviously.
Representing the public out there. I've got no time for any one of them, actually, to tell you the truth.
What do you think a normal person, their opinion is of you and your party? Do you think it's swinging? I know a lot, obviously 23% rise in the polls, or it's up to 23% now, or it may be higher now. That was a couple of months ago.
Nationally 25 to 30% for...
I mean, even that is fucking insane. For someone who has no plan, like no rational policy beyond putting victims in harm's way so far.
Labor, yeah. So it's it has in different states. It's different. It could be 30% here in Queensland.
Do you think that's swinging voters who 10 years ago were like, no, I would never vote for Pauline
Correct.
Hanson?
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
They can see the way the country's going. A lot of people are hurting with cost of living pressures. They can't, own their own home. They can see the demise of the country. They can see the poor government that's happening. They feel they've been ignored. They don't trust their politicians. There's no Australian pride in.
Why do they think that? Like, why? I mean, this seems to be like a fairly worldwide phenomenon that's happening. Like, I just need to remind myself to take a step back and sometimes think about these things before going off, because, like, there is a moment where, like, it's, if you grew up during the 90s, it was essentially, Pauline Hanson was an absolute joke and was lambasted on every level of media. Because her views were seen as incredibly backwards and racist and ridiculous. And it's ingrained in us as middle to older millennials that this is an unserious person, this is a racist person, this is a pathetic human that actually wants to do bad things to the country and does not have your best interests in heart, and is a populist seeking to destroy the function of how we've set up our government and the policies that we have in place to have a country running fairly smoothly. That's the reality, right? And so that was the opinion. Growing up, that was the general feel of Pauline Hanson. And, obviously she's lived a rich, full life since then. And you would think, okay, maybe she's gotten smarter, maybe she's changed on certain things, and she probably has. But so far, I'm not seeing anything I can imagine why people would think, okay, well, she's changed, and so now she's a better politician to root for. So that can't be the case. So based on what she's talked so far about in terms of policy, I don't get that vibe that she's actually seriously changed. And so that must mean there is a sentiment change happening in the populace. Now that's something that if you look to cleverer people and smarter people, a lot of them would probably say there is a media diet and an echo chamber effect coming from certain platforms, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you're on, that is now funneling people down this perspective of life is shit, immigrants are bad. I didn't even know what the fundamental immigrants bad talking points are in terms of like are they stealing jobs? The number one issue people blame immigrants on is the house price, right? House price and cost of living. Immigrants make shit more expensive, apparently. Now, we read the OECD reports, and it demonstrated that a 1% increase in immigrant population results in a 1% increase in house price. And so there'll be varying impacts because some suburbs have a significantly higher immigrant influx volume, others not. Now, last we saw also in OECD reporting is Australia has about a 30% born overseas citizenship population. So 30% of our citizens were born overseas, or was it citizens or residents, people living here? So, I can't remember the distinction. So there's a reasonable argument that you could say house prices are 30% more expensive than if we had zero immigrants, right? That's the OECD reporting that's telling us. That's the research papers and the studies. That's what they're telling us. So if I'm spending $1 million to buy a house in Brisbane, it's potentially $700,000 if we get rid of all the immigrants. But 30% of 25 million people, you're really going to get rid of 7.5 million people? Like, you just can't. You can't do that because either they're, one, citizens. Now you can't kick them out. Two, you would fucking crash the economy. People would probably starve. Like, there's just, once you've built the economy to this point with the people in place, like, removing all those people is so detrimental. Now, okay, so let's think about some of these claims here.
The country's going, a lot of people are hurting with cost of living pressures. They can't, own their own home. They can see the demise of the country. They can see the poor government that's happening. They feel they're being ignored. They don't trust their politicians. There's no Australian pride anymore. And then you've got a lot of it coming from the migrants who've come here for a better way of life. And they're really angry because they're saying, I don't want this country to become like the place I left. And they're...
How many people do you reckon are coming from England saying that? I reckon it's a lot.
Yeah,
I reckon a lot of people.
Even a lot of Asians as well.
Right.
I get a lot of support from Asians coming.
Asian countries struggle to have functioning democracies. I mean, that's if Asian people are honest to God, let's think about the Asian people that are coming. Chinese people cannot even claim that it's becoming close to the Communist Party. Okay, number one. Vietnamese people, another communist country, not even fucking close. Thailand, an actual monarchy. Indonesia, a Muslim Islamic, almost an Islamic republic, basically, right? Like, this is an hugely corrupt, like ridiculously corrupt. Like, I don't understand. Where is this distrust of politicians come out? Like, and the cost of living crisis, blah blah blah. Okay, yes, shock horror. When interest rates were fucking 0%. Life was good. People had money. People could take on debt. There was a lot of spending going on. La 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 la. It was fantastic, right? But just because we've got interest rates a bit higher, inflation's a bit up, everyone's saying cost of living crisis. You are still some of the most comfortable human beings on the face of the planet right now. Like, don't get it twisted, man. Like, I see motherfuckers out here still talking about buying jet skis. How is that a cost of living crisis? I just went on a driving holiday and all I saw was caravans. It was 5-to-1 vehicles was caravans, like, versus trucks, basically. Like, where is the cost of living crisis if people are affording caravans like this? This is a fucking myth. There's certainly some people doing it very tough. Probably there will be the bottom 40%, certainly doing it very tough, but the upper 60% are not doing it tough at all. And I just don't believe that her policies would benefit the bottom 40% at all. I mean, she's going to be looking at ways to grease Gina's arsehole and make it smoother so that she can lick it more efficiently. That's what's going to... Anyway. So, like... Oh, my God. And this thing about, we didn't want people from England to come out here. Well, England also has a really, really shitty democracy set up. And the way it's like first past the post and House of Lords and, oh my God, like... Our actual government structure is set up in such a free and fair way. It's superior to many other systems around the world. Like, I don't even know where to begin because it's so hard the way we've set our shit up. It's so hard for it to be bad and to get bad. Like, it would have to take a despot or someone truly determined to break the system, like Pauline Hanson, to actually ruin things, because there's just so much good thought has gone into the setup of the government and the bureaucracy. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I think the way that they set us up back in 1900 and the steps they've made since then have been absolutely fucking genius, to say the least.
To Australia, and they feel exactly the same.
Well, the Japanese, they won't cop it over there.
No, they don't.
No, they're like, nah, you're not. No, if you want to come here, yeah, sure, come join us. But this is how, and they do it to Australians too. This is how we operate, okay? You don't walk around with a coffee cup, okay, sip it in the streets. That's offensive, okay? That's how we do it here. And people go, all right, fair enough. That's how we do it.
You know.
You're in someone else's house. You play by their rules. But that doesn't happen here. That's because, well,
we've got a multicultural society. Just bring in the women. Let them wear the burqa. Let them have their 4 wives down there.
With the burqa, this is how I think about it. Do you think people should be able to wear it if they want to wear it?
No.
Why?
No, because it's un-Australian. That's not part of our culture. I think, and other countries have found, 24 countries around the world have actually got rid of the burqa.
Mm-hmm.
So they've made it illegal. Why? Because people weren't assimilating. So those people wear the burqa. How easy do you think it's going to be for them to get a job? So if they're wearing the burqa, don't get employment, who's going to support them?
Yeah. Do you think though that that's impinging on someone's freedom of speech or freedom of religion? And do you think that you should be able to wear whatever you... It's not a freedom of
religion because it's not a religion.
Oh shit! A little bit of pushback from our freedom of speech advocates here. Freedom of expression. Freedom of religion. This is what they're all about, and now it's come to the crunch. I personally think burqas are fucking retarded. But it's a cultural practice, I guess. If you want to do it, fucking that's great. But where I draw the line is if there are. The problem is, I feel like it's an issue if it's not the woman's choice. If there's some kind of cultural, if there's some kind of violent patriarchal enforcement of the burqa by a man onto his family, that shit gotta go. That shit is unacceptable. Can you? This is interesting. Like in terms of they brought up employment with the burqa. Should you be able to make it part of your employment contract that you are not allowed to wear face coverings? What about the whole? What is it? The hijab, niqab, the full. What if you were doing the full top to tail, gloves and all? I haven't thought about that. that's something I am a bit of a free speech advocate too. I like freedom of expression. I would even go so far as to say that, I know I was talking about this before, like, do I feel like Nazis have a place to be able to say what they want and express racist views and hateful speech? Potentially, yeah, you should be allowed to hate people, right? Like, I don't know. It's a tricky one. Like, it can foment issues in a society, but there is a problem when you're, I just really don't like the idea of controlling thought. Like, that's not to say that I don't. I like influencing thought, right? Through programs, social programs, government programs, government intervention, schools, blah, 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 blah. Certainly. Yeah, I don't know. This is like, I need to think more about this free speech stuff. Like, where would I draw the line? I don't have a good answer for that yet. I need more contemplation. I need a better understanding of free speech. Because if you look to the American model, where everything is on the table and they have this incredibly outrageously wide definition of what is appropriate to be labeled as free speech and blah, 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 they're fucked, man. Like, you've got retards out there basically telling lies and getting away with it and fomenting division in the society, because through lies, like, you can truthfully hate someone for sure, why not? But if you can lie to deceive other people into hating, like, they got real problems, man. So there certainly is a line in terms of what is speech and what's appropriate. Now, face coverings, like a hijab, or though is it the burqa or whatever, like a face covering in public, is it a safety issue? Like, you could argue criminals wear masks for a reason, right? So it could potentially lead to people doing crimes with them on, maybe, yes, sort of, fuck. I don't know, still on the fence.
Religious requirement to wear a burqa. Okay. So it's not part of, it's not
more
even
of a cultural thing.
Correct.
Okay.
So it's what they've implemented to control the women, because their attitude is cover up. If you don't cover up and you have yourself covered up completely, well then you're leaving yourself open for
right.
And that's their attitude. That's their mindset. So women who are not covered up, well, you're
well, and that is, a lot of people will push back on that. I feel like that is the origin.
Oh, where's the pushback?
Origin, though. That's the origin story of where this burqa has come from.
It's happening in England. That's their attitude in a lot of these countries now that are dominated by a lot of these radicals that are over there, these young men. And it was estimated that about 20,000 women have been actually in these European countries, because that's their attitude. The women aren't covered up, so therefore you're leaving yourself wide open.
Open slather, yeah.
And then you have female circumcision. That's prominent. That's happening all the time. Here in the couple of Sydney hospitals,
yeah, but like, they're keeping it inside their own culture, very insulated. They're not. This isn't shit that's getting exported into Australian culture, like into the broader Australian culture. Okay, circumcision of any kind is a fucking mutilation. Like, there's, unless, there are some certain instances where there are medical reasons for it, for sure. Okay, fair enough. But like, when did the last Muslim in Sydney convince a white Aussie guy to circumcise his female daughter? Like, is this really something that we have to be worried about? Is this happening? Well, when was the last time that the burqa became commonplace among Christian or atheist white people in Australia? Are they adopting it as a cultural norm? Like, this is super weird. And certainly, like, you'll find, like, I think you definitely find, like, these second, third, fourth generations of Muslim immigrants coming in as females, they're not buying into this burqa bullshit, a lot of them. It's certainly the ones that come from the home country, and, like, that's understandable. They were raised in it, they grew up in it, they were indoctrinated into that sort of stuff. There are ways that you can bring people in. You have to shore up your own societal values and cultural values, and it's done through schooling, blah, 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 blah. And this would be my argument against Islamic schools, Jewish schools, Christian schools, even like any of these religious schools, and everyone should go through the public schooling system and it should be very standardized, is because, fuck me, man, like, there's ways that we can, you know, it's you're not always going to get the fresh off the boats, you know, assimilating perfectly, exactly every single time. But it's not about that. Like, it's about them creating this opportunity for their future generations. And basically most studies show that future generations assimilate pretty damn well.
Actually reversing that treatment they've done. They're sending women overseas and here in the backyards to have that happen to them. It's part of their cultural background. It's not religious.
There is people I know there's a few stories from the UK that people have used the defence that they didn't know that you weren't supposed to do that to women. That was the defence for be it sexual assault, be it they didn't know that was how you were supposed to act.
Did they get off? But
I mean, it's probably true to some extent, right? But they should be held accountable and held, you know, prosecuted under the full extent of the law. Like, it doesn't matter. Not knowing is not a defense. No!
If you walk in and you steal something out of the shop and you walk out, and then you can use the same excuse. Well, I didn't know. I couldn't take it.
Yeah.
It's not an excuse. I'm sorry. You know, and we...
Bum, bum, ba-da, there is a loophole and a hack to this. Stealing requires a mens rea. You have to have the mental intent on stealing but not returning or paying for it. If you take something from a shop and you leave a note that says with your name and contact information and say, I'm sorry, I can't pay for this right now, I've taken it, but I will return it or purchase a new one or recompense you with the necessary funds at a later date, that is technically not stealing. But obviously you need to follow through. Otherwise you can't say, you know, you have to make a good faith effort to try and recompense that person. I know it's a weird one, but it's yeah. To steal something, you have to have the intent, the mental intent of stealing. I know that it's super fucking autistic, but whatever.
Find that in a lot of other parts of the law, you can't use that as a form of defence because you didn't know. That's the law.
Do you think there are good Muslims?
I believe that there are Muslims out there who just want to live in peace and harmony and prosperity in their life and to get on with their life. But because it's so unsure, we don't know their beliefs. If you've got radical Islam that is growing throughout the world, and what we've got to be prepared for is to ensure that we don't see Sharia law come in here. But Sharia law is part of that radical Islam.
I feel like Islam is de-radicalizing throughout the world, generally. I mean, you know, look at the Saudis, look at the Emiratis, Look at the Egyptians. It's kind of even like Indonesia's a bit funny, but even Indonesia slightly de-radicalizing-ish. I mean, I don't know if it's becoming more radical. I think there's certainly pockets of small areas that are ultra radicalizing. That was what ISIS was, right? Like the whole caliphate, but that was very localized. Like, is Pakistan radicalizing further? Ugh. I don't really know. I don't think so. UK has some wild shit going on there, though. I don't know what the fuck's happening in the UK, but I'm not fully across the UK. But you know, it's certainly we're definitely not seeing the same shit we are in the UK as they are in the UK. Now, what do we get? We get a lot of the Sudanese kids down in Victoria and Adelaide, isn't it? We get a lot of the Sudanese kids coming over and basically doing some wild shit, absolutely wild shit. But I don't know. I feel like it's like there's not a lot of them, but the ones that are being raucous are certainly fucking making a name for themselves.
And pushing their own culture. Sharia law, we've got, halal, we've got the banking sector, we've got multiple marriages, they can have up to 4 wives. This is all happening in Australia. These are all things.
I think it was 12 kids were married off last year or over the last couple of years in New South Wales.
Yeah.
I did a video on it a couple of weeks ago.
Increased, 91 that have actually...
really?
Yeah.
Across the country?
Yeah.
It's dramatic.
That's right. So
it's dramatic.
So it increased. I think it increased by a third from the previous year. So you have got them going overseas, these child marriages there.
To have them and then come back.
Yeah, this is not religious. This is a culture that's incompatible with the Australian way of life.
Yes.
And, all these having in Trafalgar Square in Britain, where they all, wanted to pray there. Come on, that's a form of dominance.
It's certainly a power play, isn't it?
Of course it's a power play.
It's certainly, people stop and they see that and they go, okay.
But yeah,
wow.
But see, I don't believe that should be allowed. It's a power play. It's like, we're going to do what...
Fuck. Like, I hate having to defend Islam because it is a fucking dogshit religion. Like, no joke. And it has led to a lot of dogshit cultural practices. Fuck.
What we want to do.
But where does where do you say, okay, you can do what you would like with your freedom of speech, but you can't do that?
That's not freedom of speech. That's a...
What? Ah! Oh, fuck. Oh, my brain is twisted. My brain is twisted. That's not freedom of speech. What she's going to say, it's a domination tactic. Right?
What you would like with your freedom of speech, but you can't do that.
That's not freedom of speech. That's a domination. That's a religious domination.
So, taking up space in an area to pray peacefully, and part of that praying is in fact getting on your knees and bowing down. Totally dominated, bro. Like, are we serious here? I think, like, now the only counter I would say is if they do not have a protesting permit approved by the said council area, local council for that area, then they should not be doing it, right? This is not some kind of bullshit fucking... You can't just show up and do a, what do they call it, a flash mob and just fucking start praying. That's retarded. Like, you should, if they want to do some shit like that, they should have a protesting permit or a function permit that allows them, they've got tick of approval, all good to go. But a domination, oh my god. Like, atheism is too strong. We will never be defeated. Like, particularly in a modern Western cultural context. Like, we are probably going to convert more Muslims to atheism than the other way around. And no, it's not even like fucking. It's like they say, like a lot of it is cultural. And there will people be, oh yeah, I'm Muslim, but they're only culturally because they, they fucking don't eat bacon or some shit, right? Like that's the only Muslim part about them. I don't even know, like, this is assimilation happens. It works. It's good. Like, this is where the accusations of racism come in, because they're making all these claims about, and look, there's bad shit happening in these these ethno-religious groups for sure. I mean, 91 child brides. But we should be finding ways to fucking prosecute the parents and throw them in jail, or remove those children from dangerous situations. And that's 91 that I'm guessing we know about, right? So how many others are not getting picked up through this culture of silence? On the flip side, I could say 91 doesn't sound like a lot, because there's probably hundreds of thousands of kids. So as a statistic, it's very small. But fuck it, we should try and work towards 0 child brides. Can't argue with that. But do we relinquish all of our humanitarian efforts and prevent people from trying to escape war-torn countries, or stop people and not support people? I don't know, man. That's like, if they weren't here, they'd be doing it over there. But at least if they're here, we can potentially hold them accountable, right? Like, where would you rather have them be doing it here and we know about it and we can fucking manage it? Or would you rather it just happen to them over there anyway, and it's just going to happen? Like, do they think that if they're in their own country, it's not going to happen? Like, it's fuck me. Like,
that's what that is.
If they were doing it out of people's way, would that be okay?
Do it in your mosque. Go and do it in your own home.
Yeah.
Don't do it in public place.
Mm-hmm.
And then the same thing is what's happening in countries now, the prayer that's being played at the rise of the sun every morning.
That's odd. That's odd.
Well, okay.
Okay, that one can fuck right off if they're doing that. I haven't heard of anything about this. I don't even know if it's true. I can imagine some areas it might happen, but you know what? Fuck that. If it is happening, it can fuck right off. Just because of who these people are, I'm fucking taking their whatever they say with a huge grain of salt. Oh fuck! I'm gonna have to fact check. Blah. Holy shit. Are you telling me that it doesn't fucking happen? Are you fucking telling me that it doesn't happen? Lakemba Mosque, Australia's largest mosque, sought formal approval from the Canterbury Bankstown Council to broadcast the Adhan outdoors for roughly 3 to 15 minutes every Friday at midday 1 day a week at midday. In previous years, they have also been permitted to broadcast the evening called the prayer during Ramadan. So this is basically the same as church bells, although I don't hear church bells much anymore. But so this is a big this is a non-starter, right? So in 2020, we record loudspeakers. Following on from a one-off broadcast on Wednesday, the executive director of the Lebanese Muslim Association that runs a mosque told SBS that the call would now ring out at dusk until the end of Ramadan. Okay. This is just about the Ramadan one. Allahu Akbar. I mean, it's a nice song, to be honest. I quite like the sound. I can't argue with the musicality of it. It fucking rips hard. I don't know. It would be, look, if it was at sunrise, it would piss me the fuck off. If it's 1 day a week and midday, I could probably live with it. Well, I wouldn't be here, but I would be pissed if I missed out on it. But like 15 minutes is wild. 15 minutes is insane. 3 minutes maybe. But yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of like imposing religion on people that choose not to be religious. Like, that's just fucked. My baseline stance is fuck no. Like, this is keep your religion to yourself. We don't need it in public space. But then, like, there's some shit where I can think, okay, for Ramadan, in the evenings, 3 minutes here or there, okay. But like, but Ramadan's like fucking 4 weeks or some shit, isn't it? Imagine that. 4 weeks every day might be a bit rough. But I mean, yeah. It's not like, yeah, it's a big Muslim community. It kind of, it kind of makes sense, but yeah. I hate having to talk about all this fucking religious freedoms bullshit because I hate religion so much. They're so dog shit. Like, ugh.
Okay. Well, then what's the difference with that to doing your prayers?
Well, no, I think it's odd that people would do that because I feel like that's so in your face. It's pushing religion on other people who don't want to. Like, I wouldn't do that personally. I wouldn't do that with one. If I had my Spotify playlist playing that loud, I would feel very like guilty, like I've done something wrong. Like I shouldn't be doing this to other people. But you're not allowed to speak out about.
Holy fuck! This guy just incidentally hit on probably what I would call the best and most amazing aspect of Aussie culture, which is shame and embarrassment. Like, this is classic Scots-Irish cultural heritage of everything I'm doing is embarrassing and I hate myself and I don't want anyone else to know about it. This is true Aussie culture I can get behind, and it's how fucking motherfuckers keep to themselves and don't get involved in it, don't push themselves onto other people, and stay out of everyone's business, keep their nose to themselves. Like, when they were talking at the very start of this, and they asked the question, what is Aussie culture? They couldn't even answer the fucking question. They listed off categories. And meanwhile, like, these inadvertently just hit on a core tenet of Aussie culture, which is shame. Shame is a good thing, and we should all feel it, and we should not fucking play our Spotify playlists in public. 100%. Total agreement. Me and Isaac Butterfield on the same page about shame and not playing your fucking... Okay, One, you don't play your fucking music broadcast like loud as fuck in public. Two, you don't have your loud as fuck FaceTimes, right? And where you're screaming at each other. And three, there's got to be a third one because it's funny, right? But yeah, there's some things that you just like we should not tolerate as a society, and that's Aussie to not tolerate those things. And the other most Aussie thing is you do not say anything to that person, but you tut under your breath and you roll your eyes and you make it clear with your body language that this is unacceptable, but you do not address it directly. That is also Aussie culture. The passive aggressive disapproval. Can't go wrong.
About it, these people are fed up with it, but it's because the dominance that is shown right along, and the fear, like Lakemba. How comfortable did the Prime Minister feel in that mosque?
Well, I watched his speech afterwards, and he said it was very positive.
Oh, right.
Did you see him say that?
No.
Well, he did. He absolutely did.
I asked you the question, how comfortable do you think he looked?
He was terrified. There's one photo of him ducking like that.
It's like,
he was so scared. And I would have been scared too. I did a joke years ago in...
Why are you scared? I don't understand. Like he was invited. The fuck are we talking about?
My special that was on Amazon. It's now on YouTube. I don't know, where's my camera? There it is. But it was a joke about the Christchurch massacre, a horrible event. But I joke about horrible things all the time. That is my type of humour.
So edgy! Fuck, I'm edgy! Fucking so edgy, bro.
It's what I enjoy. And making jokes about horrific things, I think, is a really appropriate way for people to deal with horrible, horrible pain. Okay. And I received... It was somewhere in the neighbourhood, and I'm not being hyperbolic, about 60,000 death threats through Instagram. It was...
Did you get a fatwa?
I didn't have a fatwa. I don't think anyone declared a fatwa on my head, but it was as close. Did you get one of those?
No.
Okay.
I haven't had a fatwa.
That's nice. Well, one day if we ever get one, we'll have a glass of wine or something to celebrate. But it was very scary. That was during COVID too, so I was able to wear a mask and sort of just hide. So that was a positive. One positive through COVID anyway. But I never got that from any other religion. And I feel like I can talk to anyone and I'm happy to talk to everyone. And I think there's so many different varying levels to religion of how religious people are.
It's a dominance of fear. So once they put fear into people, then they know they can do whatever they want to do. And Devil, that some of them do because they're martyrs. They are so ingrained to their Quran, to Muhammad, to Allah Akbar, that they will say and do. And we know, we've seen it. We've seen the terrorists out there. We've seen the martyrs out there that have taken their own lives just to prove a point. And it's a shame. No other religion behaves like that.
I think there are some people who practice Islam or Islamic, and they have this idea that they've interpreted the Quran and they love their God and they just live normal existences. And I think that they're relatively good people. Obviously, I can't say they're all great, much like I can't say that about a lot of people.
That's right.
But
you can't.
They seem to have, and this is an outrageous thing to say, more per capita than any other religion of violent people. Is that fair to say?
Shit. Is that fair to say? Oh, God. I don't think I'm going to be able to find any real meaningful statistics on that, am I? What do you call yourself? I don't even know how I would break this down. Where would even find this? Religiosity and crime. Where would this be? How would we... Who would have this? Who, like... How would we verify this claim? Like this claim, fuck me, it's on them anyway. Like, they would have to have some study or evidence for this claim, because, like, it's certainly one of those dumb bullshit claims where people just be like, yeah, of course, yeah, no, that makes sense. For sure they are. Like, because, you know, we had the Bondi shootings, we've had, you know, wars with the Middle East, and so when you see wars, and, you know, there's the Hamas, there's the Hezbollah, there's the Houthis, there's the Taliban, the ISIS, the blah 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 blah, that you get pumped into your fucking skull day in, day out. It's natural to have this view of Muslims creating more violence generally, wherever they are. But I would love to see some actual evidence of what this means, or what this looks like. If this is true, how this looks. God, this is an American thing, though. I don't think I really care about America, because their statistics are not going to be the same as ours. Let's retire. Dum. Oh, Australia. What do they call it even? Like, it's not a it's a religious affiliation. My brain stops using words once it gets to this time of night. Australian state and federal authorities do not collect or publish systemic crime statistics categorized by religious affiliation, because religious belief is not recorded during arrests or charge processes. Yeah, that makes sense. Broad crime rates across faiths do not exist. Do not exist. So we have no way. I mean, there's a fact check here, Deakin University. It's probably the same one, right? Fact check from Deakin University. Muslims in New South Wales and Victoria 3 times more likely than other groups to be convicted of crimes. Oh, so this is the article here anyway. The claim. In his headline-grabbing first speech last week, Qatar's Australian Party Senator Fraser Anning made a number of claims relating to Muslim immigrants. Among them was a claim that Muslims in Australia were overrepresented in crime rates, vastly exceeding other immigrant groups. Muslims in New South Wales and Victoria are 3 times more likely than other groups to be convicted of crimes. Is this correct? RMIT ABC Fact Check takes a look. Senator Anning's claim is baseless. So this is the verdict. A slew of government departments and data collectors from both New South Wales and Victoria confirmed that they did not collect categorising convicted criminals collect data. Yeah, so we know this. Indeed, experts said there was a dearth of data relating to the subject, which makes Senator Anning's claim unsustainable. So basically, there is zero way to know, because nobody fucking knows, because it's not tracked. So another instance of subjective feels about a thing with no actual data or evidence to back up the claim. So the office did not respond. A variety of government departments and data collection agencies in both states indicated that there was no available data. A spokesperson for the Bureau of Crime Statistics and Research, which is a statistical, told Fact Check, as this data is not collected, we could not provide any data. Prison populations. Here we go. While Senator Anning's claim related to convictions, past media reports have referred to an alleged overrepresentation of Muslims in the Victorian and New South Wales prison systems. A 2015 report in The Australian stated that Muslims made up 9% of prisoners, but just 3% of the general population. In Victoria, 8% of the prison population identified as Muslim versus 2.2% of the general population. A spokesperson for Corrective Services told a spokesperson for Corrective Services New South Wales told Fact Check self-identifying Muslims made up 10.3% of the prison population, which includes those held on remand but not yet convicted. Muslims made up 4% of the general population of New South Wales at the time. This comparison with the general population, however, does not show whether Muslims are more likely to be prisoners or convicted of a crime than other groups, which Fact Check takes to mean other religious groups. Corrections Victoria did not provide Fact Check with data relating to the religious affiliation of prisoners. Dr. Karen Gelb, a criminologist and lecturer at the University of Melbourne, suggested that religious affiliations reported by prisoners was an unreliable gauge in assessing Senator Anning's claim. With convictions, ideally, you'd be getting that from court data. Obviously, not everyone ends up in prison. Only a small minority of people are ending up in prison. I understand this. Given the focus of Senator Anning's claim relates to convictions and not prison sentences, Fact Check considers that data on the religious affiliations of prisoners is not relevant in checking the veracity of his claim. Isn't it though? Isn't it though? I mean, surely it says something about a per capita incarceration rate, right? Per capita incarceration rate. Like, surely you can actually figure out a per capita incarceration rate from this, right? I feel like they didn't do the next step of the calculation. Or, I mean, okay, we saw because it counts people in remand. Okay, I get it. They have not been convicted. They've not been convicted of a crime. I understand that part. They could be wholly innocent. They're basically saying without enough data that it's baseless, right? That's what they're claiming here. But even if they had the police data, like, that would be the same as what they've got, this prison data anyway, right? Like, because just because you've been arrested by the police doesn't actually mean that you're guilty. Dr. Gelb told Fact Check that, as far as she was aware, the census of population housing was the only place religious affiliation was officially recorded in Australia. And, of course, the census has nothing to do with crime. She added that for New South Wales, the Bureau of Crime Statistics and Research was the most reliable source. Boxar deals with the police and courts and corrections, so they are the absolute authority, and if they say they don't have anything, then they don't have anything. Dr. Gelb had herself searched for evidence in a bid to assess the accuracy of Senator Anning's claim. As far as I can tell, the claim is baseless. Dr. Richard Effens, a lecturer of criminology at Deakin University, told Fact Check that, apart from Indigenous status, there was very little demographic data recorded in Australia. Yes, okay. Which made it difficult when researching crime in relation to different cultural and religious groups. The notion that anyone could definitively say that Muslims are overrepresented as offenders is just nonsense. There is no data along those lines. Coming from the good doctor at Deakin University. So yeah, this is a self-report. That's the other thing, which is kind of shit, right? Cool. Baseless claims. No data. Alrighto.
Yep.
Okay. Well, this is another. This episode ended up in like a dog shit fucking like let's rag on Muslims kind of section of whatever the fuck this interview is. So this is the racism portion of the interview. We've beaten up on women, we've beaten up on intellectuals, we've put cushions around men, and now we've gone to the racist portion. Cool. I cannot wait to see what the fuck we run into next time, because this is actually beating myself in the head with a wet brick. For fun. Oi, oi, oi. Catch you next time.